Okay, all righty, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, minutes and reports received and filed.
Yeah, we have the January, sheriff's January 2025 fees and the treasurer's January 2025 reconciliation report.
Okay. Commissioner Committee liaison reports, upcoming meetings and events.
We got HBA board meeting this afternoon, planning commission meeting this evening, HBA general membership meeting tomorrow night, solid waste management district board meeting Thursday, JC rep meeting Thursday afternoon. Public service announcement, Friday's Valentine's Day, guys, don't forget. Saturday's Blair Oaks FFA dinner banquet, and then Monday's a holiday too, so if you want something on the agenda, you need to get it to us a little earlier. And we got the Political and Economic Responsibility Committee meeting for the Board of Realtors. That's about it.
Tomorrow, West Central County Commissioners at the Capitol Rotunda talk about some legislation, I believe. Also tomorrow, Salute 25 will begin to work on the 4th of July for this year. Thursday, I have a Patriot Day meeting. And Monday, as Jeff said, was our holiday.
So today I've got the Capital Region Board of Trustees meeting at noon. I had all kinds of stuff for Wednesday and Thursday, and they got postponed. So Friday, I'm making a Sons of the American Revolution presentation to Jefferson Bank. And Saturday, we have the Sons of Union Veterans meeting at 10:30. So that's all I've got. Okay, presentations from staff, consultants, and invited guests. And this is the River Market and the Chestnut Street project update. So come up here if you would, since we're, yeah, got the microphone there.
Good. Hi, all. I'm Bob Gilbert, Rachel Senzi with the city, and I think you might want to kick off just kind of the general nature of things, just sort of reminders.
Sure. We've come before this body before in the past to present the concept of the River Market at the former Missouri State Penitentiary property. We currently went under design. We have 100% design documents that we have reviewed internally and are ready to proceed. And we're building out the bid package right now, hopefully to be able to put it out for bid very soon. Just to give a little background for those that maybe are not familiar with the project. The city acquired, have a land conveyance agreement with the state of Missouri since 2018. One of the requirements of that land conveyance agreement is that we start construction on something before July of 2025. We originally had a private development project that went in. Many reasons, one of the main one being COVID-19 and trying to develop a hospitality project during the pandemic. Couldn't get the financial side of it to pencil in. So we shifted gears quickly to a public space type project where we came up with the River Market facility concept. So it could serve as a farmer's market, but also kind of an upscale park pavilion. The overall project is coming in multiple phases. It is funded by a community revitalization grant through the Department of Economic Development for $2.1 million. We also have some other funding partners that come in, so it's an overall about $4.2 million project for the River Market facility. Attached to that, connected but separate, what I would call phase one is the River Market. Phase two, which we're going to talk about heavily today, as the Chestnut Street expansion component of the project. we're going to take the existing Chestnut Street, extend it into a full city street. Right now, it's kind of utility access for the railroad and for the state. But we're going to go ahead and make that a full city street with the county's assistance and cost share ability to be able to also facilitate and access the river market, but also there's about a $200 million development in the One Health Lab that the state of Missouri is currently producing that's across the street from Chestnut. So we're trying to provide that service of accessing the river market and also accessing that One Health Lab. So that would be phase 2. We'll also talk about briefly the phase 3 component of the project, which really is about connectivity. The goal of Community Revitalization Grant was to connect to that surrounding neighborhood. So we want to build out greenways and trail systems, sidewalks, anything to make that area a little bit more accessible to the general public, kind of take the prison vibe away from it a little bit, respect that prison atmosphere for its historic nature, but also try to reconnect with the river, which is one of our largest assets that this community has not really had access to in the past. So we want to bring that access back and forefront and connect with that river. I'll go ahead and let Bob kick it off, and we can get into the nuts and bolts of the project, and I'll discuss kind of the 3 phases in detail later.
All right. I think I can hand over to Jeff. He actually heard this on Thursday last week. And quick slides. I do have slides here, but it's a little bit far away. We do have a PDF of these that Melissa will have shortly, and you guys can take a deeper dive if you want, ask any questions afterward. But lots of partners on this first screen. So again, state, county, city, J.C. Parks, and then Bartlett West, and Riddell Engineering Resources, part of our team doing the geotech on this project. This is an image from the fall. You already saw this before, of kind of that initial concept, and it really hasn't changed a lot in terms of the site layout. What's really probably changed the most is the details about the building and the actual building itself. So I'll get to that in just a second. In the upper right of this image is kind of a parking lot you see back there. That's where the State Health Lab is going in right now. It's under construction. But again, we'll focus a lot of this on the Chestnut piece here in just a moment, but I want to kind of give you this backdrop of where we are. The upper left image is kind of what we're building today, but want to kind of remind everybody, we've laid the site out such that this can expand in the future should the interest grow. And as we've investigated in kind of one of these similar markets in Columbia, one of their first piece of advice was make sure it's able to grow, because they're experiencing a lot of growth in their markets, their farmer market. So we did want to make it that possible. So that's just showing that it is possible to keep adding to this site the way we've laid it out. Whoops, sorry, my clicker's not keeping up with me. Yeah, I need to stand up here. There we go. Okay, this image helps to see the pavilion in a little bit more detail. Again, originally as we think about a pavilion, it was going to be just an open air pavilion. One of the things the Parks Department is really wanting and looking for is some type of ability to enclose some of the pavilions for more like 3-season or even 4-season use, depending on what kind of HVAC we can get into the building. And so we were looking originally at making the pavilion possible to add doors to it eventually, but we're going to go ahead with that in the base bid at this point. Again, with Rachel's ability to kind of see where this can phase and where the funding can go. This is the image, if you will, of what would be constructed. The 2 kind of big brick things in the front actually house a sprinkler system in one of them, and the other 3 on the corners are basically storage for the facility. So this is going to be an open pavilion. There's nothing on the surface when you get inside of it, just a concrete floor like any other pavilion. But the Parks Department wanted to have a little bit of area for tables, chairs, things like that to set up. So those big blocks, I'll call it, on the outside, those likely will be places for public art, signage, other things like that, but we're not there yet. We want to get the base bid done. A bathroom, I won't concentrate too much on that, but it's more than a hut, I'll call it. It's not a vault toilet. This is a fully operational conditioned air restroom facility. I put this slide in here for some historical context. I don't have a pointer on this, but we can come back to this if we want. But I wanted to share this because you can see where Chestnut is kind of on the I'll call it the right side, going all the way, thank you, Rachel, all the way up there. That's Chestnut, but this is a 2013 aerial photograph. And so as you can tell, there were still buildings throughout the entire prison site just literally 12 years ago. And so a lot of this is going in some of that space. Again, to remind everybody, the city's portion is essentially the eastern half of the prison, I'll call it. If you go over to the left, you'll see the federal courthouse in the upper left, the white building. That's on Lafayette, of course, and then Capitol is the southern kind of boundary.
Our property is like this upside down L, and the saddle factory, which is in demo, is ours, but not the Red River building. So it kind of.
So that might help with some context for later. But this is an updated image of the same kinds of things. Again, there's not a lot of different layout here from the site, but just again showing you kind of where this is. The State Health Laboratory is what's being built kind of up in that hillside to the left of the pavilion. Again, just some renderings to help get a concept of what this site will be. Again, there are 8 overhead doors, which essentially would accommodate. Sorry, there are 8 overhead doors, which accommodate 16 vendors, essentially backing up, and then users of the facility would essentially walk straight through the person doors on either end, and then experience the market on both sides. So basically, that's why we show these facilities, these vehicles backed up to the building. Essentially, they're the vendors. This image is maybe helpful a little bit later. You'll see some orange road closed kind of markers there. We've kind of developed the site to be split a bit in half so that one part of it can be fully pedestrian during events. That way food trucks and pedestrians can be on the kind of western half of it where the loop road is, and then the vendors and the parking is more on the eastern half up against Chestnut. Again, this shows that same thing. So that crosswalk essentially becomes kind of that dividing point during use where they can block that off and make more of the campus, if you will, kind of more pedestrian oriented. This is an overall view of more or less the River Market site being on the very east. That little cul-de-sac there is Chestnut. And then this does show future connectivity. So the project does not include today to build anything west of the River Market site. But this ultimately has been envisioned for many years to be connected ultimately over to Deborah Cooper Park and Adrian's Island. So that connection there is still possible with this concept as far as how it connects to everything else. And of course, to the east, it would connect to the state buildings and network over to Ellis Porter Park as well.
So you got 16 vendors that'll accommodate. What happens if we end up with 25 to 30 vendors? Will we have
Yep,
just
there's
a
overflow.
surface area?
Yeah, if you look there, Sam, great question. If you look on the grass infield where the future pavilion could go, that grass infield also can be backed up against, and then essentially tents can be set up, kind of like currently many of the farmers markets just set up portable tents.
But I'd like to think that it's going to boom, and so
Yeah.
you don't want to limit it to 16.
Yeah, so right now, ultimately maybe there's ultimately up to 32 or something like that on the site if tents were set up. And then this image does have the food trucks around that outer court, that circle drive. So that's where we envision those to be set up. Okay.
So Bob, kind of along those same lines, I think Lincoln University has a farmer's market, so are they going to move down here too, or are they going to keep theirs going? Or do you know for sure?
That's really up to them. I mean, this would be a site that they could move it to. Maybe you've got comments more on the city.
We don't currently have an operator for the site to do a farmer's market. That would be something, it's going to be operated as a parks pavilion. So if one of the groups, Lincoln, or I know there's a farmer's market through Cole County, if they want to participate and they want to, we could enter into a lease agreement or an operator's agreement, so then they could establish themselves there.
Yeah, I think they were kind of wanting to stay in the same footprint as Lincoln. I mean, it's down
Yeah,
Chestnut.
and that was the last that we heard too. And I think it was, maybe like, well, let's see what it looks like when you build it, when you get it built, and then we'll reconsider.
And then they had the other group that was trying to get the other farmers market together too. Didn't really sound like they were both working together on the same page.
Right.
They kind of had theirs where they wanted it, so I didn't know if they were using this or not.
Right, and the farmer's market approach, and that's why we wanted to maintain the river market to be flexible, so it could do not only farmer's market. Because when we went to Columbia, we felt like that was one of the the negative parts of it, it was very limited to that farmer's market. And so then they weren't leasing their space to its greatest potential because they kind of pigeonholed them into that space. So we wanted kind of more of a multifunctional pavilion that could also facilitate a farmer's market if one of those operators stepped up and said that they wanted to take on Saturdays and Wednesday afternoons or whatever that fits their schedule.
But in essence, J.C. Parks would facilitate the operation of a facility like the Memorial, Park Pavilion, or over at Ellis Porter, there's a pavilion as well. But again, those have always been and probably will always be open air because of the structure that was built there, that it can accommodate, I'll call it, any other interior use with doors. Once you enclose it, now you're in an occupied space. Architecturally, codes like sprinklers, things like that start to come into play. So this is going to be a unique facility for the Parks Department to rent out, essentially, and something that they've been desiring for a while, but could not accommodate at other
How many
other
public
sites.
parking spaces will there be? Say you have 300 people who come to this farmer's market. Do we have, I know they can park on Chestnut.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
things like
I
that.
don't know the total count off the top of my head, Sam, good question, but yeah, Chestnut does have parking
Yeah,
bulb outs, I'll
yeah.
call it, you'll see that in the plans here in just a minute.
We
I-
still own the parking lot that's up on the, I guess, that southeast corner, the old, where the OA fleet used to be, the state fleet. So there's in addition to what they've got designed at the River Market, in addition to Chestnut Street, there's still that upper parking as well.
This is just an item of interest. I guess the demo contract is already kind of underway with the city and a demolition contract. The yellow identifies where the existing prison wall will be demoed to make room for this site, and also the orange up at the top. Actually, the tornado in 2019 kind of helped with that because that wall is down there at that point, so it's really just rubble. The bottom right picture, it's very far away from y'all, but that's the State One Health Lab that's underway right now. Again, just pointing an arrow there as to where that is in conjunction with the site and Chestnut. This is an image of the overall plan sheet for the site. There are some orange triangles, hard to see this far away, but that indicates where that kind of separation of a pedestrian part and a vehicle part can happen during an event. And then there are blue circles at the upper top of that. That actually comes from some input. We've got a couple of vendors and event planners in the community that have reached out to us about what they need or what they want, and those are basically RV hookups, essentially, for water and power for food trucks. That's what those 5 circles indicate. And then I mentioned this last time we were here in the fall, but that kind of blue, that light blue line at the bottom of the picture indicates the storm tunnel or storm culvert that was built in the probably early 1900s, 19-teens. And I think I do have this. I put this in there just for Sam. Little historical knowledge here. This is what it looks like inside that tunnel. This drains a very large area, very large footprint. When this was developed and more prison expansion was happening, again, this is not very common in the community where a channel is just totally enclosed and blocks of area are filled in over top of it. The other thing that's kind of interesting is that on the left, you'll see a very large steel gate that we've not done any record searches, but we believe that must be there. It was connected on kind of 2 hinges on the upper part of that plate, which makes us think that was there to let water out, but it was heavy enough that prisoners could not get in the storm tunnel and get out. So I thought that was kind of a neat historical fact, or not a fact, a historical belief, I guess, on my part as to what that is, because generally speaking, in stormwater design, we never put gates in culverts like that. So I thought that was an interesting thing that at least Sam would like to see. All right, a little bit on the schedule. Again, River Market site, we're at 100% design, so we're ready to go to bid. Essentially in the middle of the page there, you see bidding March, construction starting in around May. Again, we're trying to hit that definitely by July timeframe with the state. And then Chestnut is kind of right there with it, but a little bit behind it with May bidding expected, with probably the biggest caveat there being it's not as schedule driven with the state and deadlines, but utilities will likely be some of the potential challenges going forward. I've got a few slides here then on Chestnut. We showed you the bottom image last time we were here, but the top is just basically the typical section. 2 lanes with parking throughout, but also, again, some of it does not have parking because of existing features on the outside. Boy, that's really far away, so really hard for you to tell. The main point here I wanted to share as we look at the plan sheets, you'll see on the bottom is a profile view. So obviously Chestnut's going downhill toward the river, and we're essentially matching grade at the beginning. You'll see, if you look real close, you can see some of the bulb outs of where we're accommodating parking where we can, but the health lab on the east and the wall on the west do create some challenges. And then you see on the bottom where the fill starts happening. So we are needing to accommodate both the state health lab side as well as the river market to match. And so we end up at about 6 feet of fill out here when we get down to the cul-de-sac. Okay, so the cul-de-sac essentially has a drive off of it. That's to accommodate the Union Pacific rail facility and operations down there. So it's more or less a driveway in to that area. And then the driveway to the bottom of this page is the State Health Lab. And this is a cross-sectional view of why we're filling it in. The picture looking into the page is like you're driving down the road. On the right, the dashed line is the State Health Lab site, so it's higher. And so we're basically trying to lift everything to match that. And again, got some images there just about the construction going on with the State Health Lab site. Okay, here the last few slides are about utilities, just kind of give you an idea, because we are going down a very old portion of partial roadway. There are some utilities that are already there. Some will be abandoned. I'll say at most will be abandoned because of their condition. And red indicates power and communications that we are looking into putting into like a conduit bank. So basically one trench, but multiple conduits. The green is new sanitary sewer for the city. The blue is water. That's been coordinated with Missouri American Water. And then yellow starts on this page, but gas we will be bringing down all the way to the cul-de-sac, partially because we do have bid alternates for the river market to actually have gas heaters in it, so it can get more usage during the year. Should the budget allow and the bids come in good, the space will be a little more, I'll call it conditioned. It won't be fully conditioned, but with heaters in it, we can use it a lot throughout the year. All right, so we are at, we've basically turned in preliminary plans to the city and county. We've already been revising some of the comments from city and county personnel on the design of Chestnut, but it is now in what I'll call final design completion stage right now. And I think that's it.
You got any security measures? I mean, there are cameras and stuff, and see any gates or anything around here to try to keep the vandals and homeless out of there, or kind of, it seems weird having that glass down there. It looks worrisome.
Yeah, the parks, I might have to defer that to parks as to what they plan to do, but I guess for instance, the communication and power conduit bank we have going down there would allow us to bring any kind of communication device down. Right now, I don't believe they have in the bid to do any cameras at this point, but that's certainly something they do at other parks, and
They'll probably
They can
install a
do that.
flock camera system, and then we talked about in the design having security measures like the prox cards and the lock boxes and whatnot to get in. But I mean, it's going to be anywhere you're adding people, you're adding that potential. So we're trying to, with the wall demo, which is actually supposed to start next week. They're going to come in and clean up some of the scrap piles that were left by the state after the tornado. And we anticipate the wall going down probably last week of February, first week of March. So that's going to happen soon. But then also like that in, crime prevention through environmental design type concept, like make sure that we have open spaces that it's well lit. And then having JCPD be aware that that's their space to patrol now.
Yeah, I know they weren't necessarily trying to tear up the pickleball court, but it was locked up and they still got over the gates.
Yeah, we had, it's always going to be a challenge for downtown area.
And we are saving the stone from the walls for some kind of future.
So the city doesn't actually own the wall. So we own the real estate underneath it. The state has access to the wall. Within the agreement, they have 48 hours to basically tell us what they want to do, want us to do with the wall. The latest that I've heard is that they do want to try to save the stone. So they're going to pay our demo contractor to hand stack and palletize and move it up. I will note though that lower wall was a later generation and it's rubble filled. So I don't know how much stone is going to be saved from that. So it's like almost like a, I don't want to call it veneer because that's not what it is, but like a veneer. And then there's just smaller kind of sections of limestone and just rubble that are filling that wall. But the state has access to it if because it's so much rubble that's within those walls, if the state chooses, because of the quality of the stone or because of the cost to hand stack and palletize, that they're going to shift directions and then they leave it on our site, we'll probably crush it up and use it for some of that elevation at Chestnut. Which I saw you. But it's that whole prison, that lower yard was a quarry. So you think about that stone started there, it evolved into a wall, and then we're just going to take it back and bring it back to the site. So it'll be, that stone itself will never move. It'll just change purposes and use.
Maybe offer some of the, you're revitalizing Capitol Avenue, but some of the people that are developing that, building homes, you could make some little walls with stone from the penitentiary, which would be kind of a neat tie-in to it.
Yeah, and that could be like one of those things, and we talked about that in the earlier part of the design phase. We just can't plan for anything because we don't have the control over it.
Yeah.
But if it happens and we can make use of it, why not?
If you look at the portion of the wall that fell during the tornado, you can kind of see what Rachel's talking about. There's not a lot of quality to it left. It breaks up pretty readily, but then it looks like it's solid blocks that made the wall, but it's a bunch of rubble basically. So I think there's more to tell when it comes down, I guess, and what will be seen and what the state wants to keep. But there's not a lot of
It'd be nice to
salvageable
reuse some
material.
of it.
Yeah.
It would. I agree.
I'm allowed to ask a question?
Yes.
So this seems very similar. It's exactly what they did with the River Market down in Little Rock, Arkansas. I used to live in Conway. And so if the plan is to connect the River Market to Adrian's Island, what is the plan and where does the funding come from for artificial lighting? Because I assume you're going to have a greenway space in there. And then comparing to what they did in Little Rock to with the riverfront in Nashville, Tennessee, where I'm from, what is the plan to maybe institute or to put in a dock there? Because when it comes 4th of July, or you could have a boat regatta down there, if you're looking at economic impact of the area, how to raise money, what are the plans regarding that?
Yeah. So we did, and Bob kind of briefly mentioned, we have a phase 3 kind of ready in the chute, and that's that connectivity component of it. We have identified, it's Land and Water Conservation Fund, or LWCF. They have an outdoor recreation legacy partnership grant. It's a 50-50, so whatever we apply for, we have to bring the match to the table. That part of the connectivity, we're not planning for that to even go to be implemented until 2027, 28. So what we're doing right now, myself and park staff, and with the help of Bartlett and West, we kind of over-designed this part of the project so that way we could see how feasible it is to get up the hill. Because if you're down there, and that's why there are so many switchbacks, is we have to deal with the elevation changes. And then also that concept of connecting, of getting back to the river. So we have this grant funding mechanism. We can apply for up to $15 million. So if we bring a $15 million match to the table, that's a $30 million build-out project just for connectivity. So that's how you pay for your bridge. That's how you pay for all the connected points. We could potentially get another pavilion or do some other outdoor recreation concepts there. That funding mechanism, we could apply this June or November, but we're going to give ourselves some time to go ahead and try to get that match leverage. So we're currently in conversations with the Parks Foundation, so that way we can get some, if there's folks out there that want to privately donate, then they could donate to the Parks Foundation, get that tax receipt, so that way it's a we're also looking at, corporate sponsorships, much like the first bridge over to the island. And just to see, but it gives us some time. It's saying, hey, we're going to be here in 27, 28. If you'd like to contribute, if you want to participate in this project, meet us there. And then we'll see what we can get out of it. One of the other partners that we're bringing to the table is the Missouri Department of Conservation. We don't have their logo on there because we're still working through the agreement. So they're already providing our Parks Department with herbicides. So we have a really bad invasive species problem down at MSP with Tree of Heaven and other invasives that have completely blocked the view of the river. So they're already working with us, and it's going to take 2 years to completely eradicate the invasives. But then we're going to enter into a 90% cost share with them. So that all the landscaping and the renderings that you saw, it's all going to be native species that are brought back that are designed to be in that environment. And then it's going to be 10% cost to the city or to the project because NBC is coming to the table. So that's like just kind of giving us time to build those cooperative partnerships. That's how we plan on that connecting. It's going to be a long process. Right now, our mission is to get it in the ground, right? So we have that July 25 deadline. Once we start that river market construction, we can kind of breathe easy for a little bit and be a little bit strategic about bringing those community partners to the table to get a big bite like that done.
Do you forecast an expenditure for once y'all start doing construction down there that rodents or whatever has kind of nested? Is like once you start digging, things come out from under rocks and then have to be removed.
Yeah. Well, I think like even just like the storm tunnel we found, but that's why we're trying to, if we bring back native species, then you get a native habitat. But then also like to once we do that, I think we're going to kind of sit back and look before we talk about adding, because I don't even know the feasibility of adding a dock or like boating river access. Not that wouldn't be, I mean, we got to do studies on
Well,
it.
you have the Army Corps and you also have the Coast Guard. Whenever you start doing things on the river, you can't just,
Oh, yeah.
it's,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but it maybe allow us to sit back and see then if we get the site cleaned up and make it a little bit more comfortable. See if private investment wants to come in and develop there, because it would be great to have a little bit of retail and restaurants and nightlife and all the things that we kind of talk about for that area. But also like that's not something. But can we pump enough public dollars into that space to make it more comfortable for them to come to the table? Long term.
yep. I think this is wonderful. We're finally doing something with the MSP. Hopefully this is a catalyst to get, as you said, more things to come down into that area. And with the state campus across the road, I think potentially,
Sounds like they're gonna have trouble supporting, fixing the MSP though, in the paper.
yeah,
I don't know if they have much support to do that.
I didn't realize that somebody thought many years back about a railroad overpass crossing there. That's interesting. Just in round numbers, how far would it be, foot traffic wise, from the middle of the Deborah Walker Bridge to this bridge? How far down the tracks are we talking?
Yeah, the island itself is almost exactly a mile long. It's about 32 acres in total. The park, Deborah Cooper Park, is about 13 acres of the 32. So, half mile gets you pretty much from the center of the island. So, you go all the way into the current park that's developed. Bridge, you're probably talking 3/4 of a mile.
Is there any plan to have like a commuter train on those tracks that brings people, I don't know who lives out that way, but brings people down to Adrian Island, they won't cross the bridge, but they work with government. So it's
Like a local, you're not talking about like Amtrak.
Yeah, Amtrak runs
no,
on
I'm
UP.
kind of modeling this off of what the Music City Star and what they do.
Union Pacific's not going to let us put it on their tracks. It's,
We take, because I went to URMR, so Little Rock.
You alert?
But like we have to take smaller bites. So it's trying to, I think we've always tried to step up to that and take a big swing. And for something like this, we deploy it. We find when we deploy it. And that's why we're starting planning for that LWCF grant so far in advance. We're 2025 and we're already working on drafting the application and starting leveraging match to go up with it. But it wouldn't start, and I say 27, but that would probably be late 27, more likely 28. But that's how you can do it is planning ahead and sticking to the goal.
Anything else? Okay.
Wanna
I'm
keep you up to
excited.
date.
Thank you,
Thanks.
guys.
That leaves with you.
Okay. Do we have any commission comments?
Yeah, I was gonna wear red today, but I wore black instead for my
Johnny
chef,
Cash?
for my chef fans that are mourning and lost Sunday, so I'm here for you guys.
We could use some counseling on that, Jeff, but since you're a
I'm used to
Cowboy
this losing.
fan, you'd be very good at counseling.
Yeah, we're at 30 years in it right now.
Okay, let's keep moving ahead. Bids and contracts, renewal one of Public Works cleaning services.
This is the first renewal with Classic Cleaning for the cleaning services at Public Works. They propose a 4% increase, which is making their annual total $22,215. Public Works and Maintenance is okay with the 4% increase, and they've been pleased with their services. Our recommendation is to renew the 2024-13 to Classic Cleaning.
I'll make a motion to approve renewal of the contract with Classic Cleaning for the cleaning services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval and signing of bi-directional data agreements.
Good morning.
Morning, good.
Our electronic health record, Patagonia, has a service that we can kind of hook into the lab or the laboratory that we use. So this would allow when our staff puts the lab record into Patagonia, it would go directly to LabCorp. And when they have the lab results, it would report directly back to our electronic health record. It would eliminate the data entry for the nurses, a lot of time, and hopefully, it would cut down if there was any human error of data entry. We wouldn't have that either. So Brian's reviewed it. He said he knows it will come out of his budget because that's what our electronic health record is typically paid out of. It's IT budget. And then Jill also reviewed it. So, and there's two agreements. There's one for Patagonia and one for LabCorp. Do you guys have any questions? Because I brought Jen and she'll answer all the hard ones.
You have circulated some emails on this, haven't you?
I did send an email on this. Yeah.
It sounded like a no-brainer for me to click on this. I'll make a motion to sign the agreement with Patagonia Health for the monthly subscription of $5,500 and initial fees of $3,300.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then
This is for LabCorp, and it's no cost for them, but it is the bidirectional data agreement.
So LabCorp is actually going to pay for the setup fee through Patagonia. So LabCorp is paying the $3,300, and we would only be responsible for the $55 a month.
I'll make a motion to sign and execute the laboratory data management agreement with LabCorp.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So it makes it even better if they're paying the setup fee.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. New business, accounts payable review. Okay. Drug testing location discussion, we were gonna table that, but I see Judge Walker is here, so,
Yeah, I had a trial today, but it went away. Parties walked in, so. Just to give a quick update, and I know I traded emails with you all, but I didn't want you to think I was ditching you either, so. I'm working with our partners to make sure they have Compass and Tomo have the right memorandum of understanding, try and get the testing to be at one of the Compass offices. The weekend is the biggest hang-up right now there too, but they're working through that, and I've kind of given them a somewhat artificial, but a deadline of March. So I'm hoping that by the time we talk again, it'll be, hey, this is what we're trying to do, so we can have that alternate location, so we can keep that program going for public safety purposes. So that's the update. I don't have any actual new updates since last week's emails about the fact that they're working on it. But
I appreciate it.
That's where it is.
We'll just keep,
Yep.
keep reporting to us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Judge.
Thanks, all.
Okay. Signing of surplus for EMS.
This is just signing of a title that we're gonna sell on Gov Deals. It's a 2012 Tahoe from EMS.
Motion to sign the certificate of title on the EMS vehicle.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And then we did talk about if anybody was needing a vehicle, and EMS said this one's been rode pretty hard, so it wasn't maybe a good candidate for that. And then I think the Pope administrator's got him a decent ride now, or done enough work to get it running good.
Yes. But he's out, that's not part of his, or, I mean, he's already, right?
He's already got one, but we were just talking about this, chief and I were, I asked if anybody else was needed across the county, hand-me-downs or whatever. So,
I think the assessor is always interested. He has one vehicle now, is that right? That's been quite utilized, I think.
so. One of them.
It's just one.
It's that one. I can't tell whether it is or not, but we still pay some mileage. But it's some people that go out.
and we do have a reserve amount on that, so if it doesn't go for enough, we'll see what we want to use it for. But
Okay. Unfinished business. Yes.
On other new business, I just wanted to bring up that the Cole County Sheriff's Department's having their Citizens Instructional Academy. It starts on March 3rd. We're looking for applicants if you want. We'll have and this is it's the Citizens Police Academy, but you get a shirt that says Cole County CIA on it, so it's better. But anyway, if anybody wants to attend, they can just contact the front office, and I have some applications here if someone wants to apply. Thank you.
how many days is that? It's 1 day a week for 6 weeks or something?
7 weeks, plus you get to go to the range and shoot some of our stuff, so.
And we get to be part of our CIA.
And you get to be part of the CIA.
I might want to be an FBI.
It's a green shirt too, so it's even better. So,
Thank you, sir. Okay, unfinished business, the salary discussions for auditor, collector, clerks, public administrator, recorder, treasurer, commission, EMA, and maintenance, we are going to table. We're moving ahead, but we're still waiting for some documentation to come into our HR. So that will be tabled until a future meeting. Do we have anything else to come before us before we go into closed session? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Pursuant to section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri, the commission will go into closed session to discuss the following. Legal under section 610.021 subsection 1. Security systems under section 6.021 subsection 20.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sam,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes. Okay. Who do we want first?